Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Hellgate London. My name is Wilfred, and in today's video I'd like to make a full review of this game after 14 hours of playing. So I've made a video on first look, and by and large I think my opinion still holds. The excitement is still there, and I can foresee myself spending quite some time playing this game. But having said that, because I've spent enough time playing this game, I've also noticed some flaws as well. So I'm going to be totally honest with you on how I feel about this game, on some of these flaws that I've sort of encountered or discovered. And but despite all this, I still find this game very addictive, very old school. I do enjoy every moment of that. From someone who has been playing a lot of games, in recent days. There aren't really a lot of games that got me play for an extended amount of time. And interestingly, Hellgate London, which is an 11 years old game, managed to hold my attention for hours actually. And even when I wake up, I kind of look forward to having a go at the dungeon and so on. So I'd like to talk a little bit about that. But like I said, I mean, I'm going to be totally honest. There are things that are not that pleasant as well, right? Now, this is Hellgate London. The publisher or developer is actually from Korea, the Hambisoft, I think. It is not the original Hellgate London, but the Hellgate London together with the Stonehenge Second Attack ABs and soon to be released free DLC called Hellgate London, Hellgate Tokyo. So in view of that, it is not the original Hellgate London. Just bear that in mind. Now there is no multiplayer, no co-op, so a lot of people actually get upset because that is not what the game they have expected to be. But the good thing about it is also there's no cash shop. And they compensated the MMO kind of like grinding requirement into something more palatable to the single player. So in a sense, some like it, some hated it because they've been wanting to play this game with their family or friends to live those good old memories. But for me, I've been playing a lot of solo while I was playing this game, although I did spend some time playing with my friends, but I'm okay with the solo. In fact, I'm pretty happy with the solo. Now, to put things in perspective, if someone were to tell me that tomorrow Marvel Heroes Online would be sold as an offline game for less than $10, would I buy it? Yes, I would. I mean, although I may not be totally engaged towards the end of the online kind of like journey, but I would pay less than, I would pay $10 to buy an online game that have become offline, and there's no cash shop component to it, meaning that I get everything unlocked, and why not? So or World of Warcraft, if someone were to say that, well, you can buy World of Warcraft and just play it in a single player mode, and they've tuned all the content including the dungeon into a single player, would I buy it? Yeah, I would buy and play it. But that's just me. A lot of people get disappointed. Now it is a very old school ARPG, as you can see. It was I believe the era was between Diablo 2 to Diablo 3, or all the rest of the great ARPG that come out after Diablo 2, and it is kind of very genre defining as well, because it's a third person or first person shooters mixed with ARPG, fast paced, a lot of loot, and also randomly generated content. There aren't really a lot of games these days to have a true random generated content whereby I think the one reason why I'm really hooked with this game is because the content changes all the time. Even if I revisit the same dungeon, I may encounter different kind of like corridors. I may encounter different kind of mob types. So I think these are the thing that make someone like me wanting to play a game again and again and again. And I think in a way, It's also why some of the modern games like I don't really get into, because if there is no such randomness kind of like in it, it'll feel a bit stagnant. But that's just me. Now it's a lot of loot grinding, a lot of loot items, full of things that you could like experiment. Some go with the build, some don't, and also of course you have the character building as well. You could have the different classes. This is Summoner I'm playing with the 2 elemental, soon to be 3, and also 1 demon. So there are different kind of like build to it. You could play other classes as well, a little bit of melee if you so wish to, and I think that's what make a game fun. Now it is a very old school game, so gone are the, well, back then it's not like now, whereby if I spend 8 hours playing Diablo 3 by myself, not even rushing it, I would have reached the level cap, right? Same as Marvel Heroes in the past, you spend like a very short amount of time, you gain to level cap, and you kind of focus on the end game. So in the modern day eras, they throw you with a lot of like gratification, whereby you don't necessarily have to work hard to achieve certain level. Now I'm not saying that it is bad to have a fast tracked level cap, because it does have its own merit as well. You want to get to the end game and fun, and start playing with it. But I am, I think, level, I don't know, 13 or 14. I spent about 14 hours. So to reach level 50, I think it may take some time. But that's good. I mean, I think back to the old school, like World of Warcraft Classic, or why people wanted it, or because I think back then, leveling up a class to say level cap at 60 or 70 meant something, because you spend really a lot of time, a lot of pain, even to get there. So this game has it, definitely very old school. The theme is very dark as well, dark theme. There are other games whereby it's also a shooter, but not in a way that is a demon or like a Diablo kind of feel to it. At least there aren't really that many. So that is also one of the reasons why I feel this game is really, really good. Now let's take a look at the flaws, because that is this part of the video I like to just be very honest with you. Is that you may experience a sudden drop in frame rates. It'll drop to like 1 or 0. Everything becomes a slideshow. It's as though they're simulating the online latency, kind of like a feel to you, but it's not. And I post a link below on just sharing your spec or your computer spec with the developer if you so wish to. But this game just released less than a week ago. The developer does listen to the forum. That is a good news. And not so good news is that they failed to acknowledge that the game needs some fixing. They say that because our computer is not at the recommended kind of like computer spec, which is kind of nonsense. If you think about this game's 11 years old game, I mean you can hardly find a hardware, I think, these days that doesn't meet the requirement, the recommended requirement, set aside beating the minimum requirement big time. So it's a bit disappointing, because looking at their response, I do not know whether they will work on that or not. Although I have created a post in Steam just asking people to share their spec so as to let them know, well, look, it is not really our machine problem, it's really the game's problem. Now, how to get around it? I made a video on that, and you could turn down the setting, and it's been rather successful for some of the people in the forum. By turning down some setting. Now the one that I recommended, it worked for me, but it depends on your computer setup. And not saying that your computer is bad, I'm just saying that the computer itself versus what the game kind of like work or not work. You may need to turn down some of the setting, but like I said, you may also want to do it with your either NVIDIA or AMD kind of setting as well. So for me, I'm using AMD. For the graphic card, so I actually have to override all the application kind of like setting whenever I can, and they set my own like whatever I want. So by doing that, together with a little bit tone down of the settings, so in the end, the video I made, I toned down the setting for quite a fair bit. I actually, push them back up again, and then coupled with the AMD setting, it seems alright. I mean, sometimes I do experience that, but it's lesser, so it's still quite enjoyable. So this video is a compilation of 1 hour recording, and within our 1 hour, I didn't encounter any frame rate drop. And as you see in the beginning of the video, there's a little bit of weather effect as well. So personally speaking, I don't think there's anything to do with our hardware. It is to do with how the probably the engine, the graphic engine back then. I think it's to do with the object or physical collision or effect collision, whereby they sort of like, there must be a conflict somewhere, because it doesn't, you don't have the kind of frame rate drop all the time. But as and when things start to collide, like in narrow corridor, when the corpse start to fly around, and that is where the thing suddenly stop quite a fair, because I think they kind of like frame rate drop for quite a fair bit, I would imagine. They need to calculate how the thing bounce around or whatnot. So in the end, I think, don't get too hung up on whether it's a DirectX 9 or 10. Seriously, I mean, even for some of the or the old game, they do recommend the DirectX 9 as well. And back then, 9 and 10 is not really a whole world difference. Seriously, it is an old game anyway. And as you can see, after a while, you get used to the graphic setting. It's not that like appalling, put it this way. It's not that you feel disgusted playing this game. I do enjoy every moment, even this model itself. So now some people notice that old bugs in the past were also ported into this version. Not surprised. I don't think they put in a lot of effort in remastering it, and henceforth you can understand that this is being sold at full price as $12 I think. 20% off is less than $10. So it is not being sold as a full price. It is rather kind of like the price itself kind of speak for quite a fair bit. So I'm not really having a lot of expectation. So long as it's playable, I can still enjoy myself, loot, and do things what I want. All right. There's been complaint about the translation. I have not encountered a lot of these issues, and because maybe English is not my first language, as you probably know by now, I do understand. I think from this part of the world, I'm from Singapore. From this part of the world, or even Southeast Asia, English is used to understand each other. It's a language to understand each other. Whether we speak in the Queen's kind of like accent or using proper kind of English or not, I think in a way it's just people to communicate, human being to communicate. They understand each other. Some with a heavy accent like myself. But I'm okay with things that are translated a little bit odd, but yet I still understand the essence of it. So that's one. Now, stash-wise is very limited. I do kind of feel the pain as well, and and there's no share stash, which to me it's not really a big deal, because unless it gets to a point whereby I have all the classes at max level, the share stash is not going to do much for me. I had it before, and I ended up chucking a lot of stuff into the share stash without really looking through them anyway, because if I'm playing a summoner and I've got some engineer kind of like gear, without playing engineer, how would I know whether I need that skill or the other skill? How would I know that what stat is good, what kind of like combination is good? I wouldn't know. So I ended up hogging a lot of item, switching character, trying to see which one can use or not. I'll end up creating all the 6 classes, try to level them at the same time, at the same rate, so that I can share the gears across. And a lot of time will be spent trying to lock in and lock out kind of thing. I've been there, done that in the past. I'm quite happy that I don't need to do it right now, because there's no point. So if I get a gear that is for classes that's beyond me, I don't even need to see what I'm missing, because I wouldn't understand anyway. So I'll just destroy them, dismantle them, and just get the met out of it. So, but that is just me. Some is really upset about it, about not having enough stash. But I do kind of understood that as a single player, game, would you want to have more space? Yeah, I mean, I can understand it would help a lot. But then, you also wouldn't want to get to a stage whereby it become an inventory nightmare. Like last time in Marvel Heroes, I have so many stats, and you realize that doesn't matter how many stats you have, I have 50 or whatever it is. Doesn't matter, it's still not enough. World of Warcraft as well, like you have so many pages of items. At the end, when I log back in after I haven't logged in for ages, I look at all these items like, do I really need them? Kind of thing. So yeah, but that's just me again. People don't really like it. As you can see, the model itself looks different. It is not the old school Hellgate London character model. It is the one that with a little bit of like a Korean model or Asian model kind of thing. It's if you play those like Japanese game or more the Korean game, this kind of model is quite popular. I personally love it. I personally think that I like what I'm seeing. But some people find it not authentic enough. So that is that's also one comment. I think the last comment is probably about the loot itself. It is an interesting point. It's not something that it's not a complaint or what, but I do find that the loot seems to be a little bit too good, and it make the contents a little bit too easy. Now I don't know whether is it because of Summoner that I have not played a Summoner in Hellgate London. I have only played an Evoker. So I found that with a Summoner, unless I'm really impatient and just rush through the content, and then after that get ambushed by, I don't know, 20 demons and more. I ain't kidding. And the character died once. But by and large, there's no scary moment. Everything become quite easy. And I don't know, is it because of all the good loot I have, because of this version, this iteration of the Hellgate London, which is like they try to make it a very awesome single player experience, double the magical chance kind of like outcome, make more champions come out. You got a lot of this like messenger from hell that you end up taking down and getting a lot of loot. I don't know, I mean it could well be, because when I played Hellgate London in the past, I don't remember having so many good gear. I remember I have to upgrade my gear through the crafter. I have to like use a blue gear, but actually I'm still using one, and so on. So yeah, I mean the game does seems a little bit easier, or maybe nowadays we are all well trained, but some of these like games getting harder and harder, that your reflexes become so much better. Maybe in the past it wasn't that way. I don't know, but I think yes, it is a little bit easier. But it is what it is. So last point, graphic is dated. Yes, some find that graphic is very dated, but I always value gameplay over graphic. I wish this game was bug free. I wish it was remastered, but it isn't. It isn't. So and I just wish that they do fix the sudden drop in the frame rate, and I do wish that they would release Hellgate Tokyo as they have promised as a free DLC. And if they want to continue working on this game, definitely I will support. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll play a little bit more as I level up and so on. And any question, any request for video, do drop a note below. I'm more than happy to help you out, answer a question. All right. Till the next time we see each other in Hellgate London, and see you next time. Bye bye.